Hi, my name is John Tope. I've been collecting antique furniture and clocks almost my entire life. Also, my wife shares my same interest. We have all types of antique clocks from many different countries. Many of the clocks are waiting for some type of repair, restoration, or conservation. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word conservation means preservation and repair of objects. This would also include protecting and minimizing deterioration in order to keep its original or existing state. The word restoration is defined as the returning of something to a former condition. This would also include treatments to stabilize the structure or the finish of the furniture. The goal is to prolong its existence. Finishes on clock cases are applied for the protection and decoration of the wood surface. The original finishes on old antique clocks have a special quality and beauty. Clock cases left unattended would certainly deteriorate over time. Measures need to be taken to preserve these fine antiques for their history and beauty. Most people have antiques in their home or in a collection that is still in use, like a chair, bookcase, clock, music box, table, or cabinet. They still serve and continue to provide their useful purpose. In museums, antiques only serve the purpose of being viewed, admired, and to have an understanding of the past. Since many of us who own antique clocks do not live in a museum, they still serve a useful purpose. These may be clocks that you purchased or may have received from being handed down through family members. Museums sometimes have a different point of view than collectors or owners of family heirlooms when it comes to the conservation and restoration of antiques. Since museums only display their objects for bearing witness to our history, their approach to conservation and restoration can be different than one who has an antique in their home that is still in service. Museums follow one or a combination of several philosophies, depending on the condition of the antique. One, they think to leave it alone or do nothing. It's the way it is for all its imperfections, deteriorations. The problem with this philosophy is that the object will likely continue to deteriorate. Museums in these instances strive to create a perfect and stabilized environment for preventing such deterioration. Regardless of any philosophy, stabilizing the environment should always be a part of any conservation or preservation plan. Conservation is taking minimally invasive steps to prevent further deterioration. This would include dusting, cleaning, treatments, climate control, proper lighting, and environmental controls to prevent things such as pests, mold, and fungus. Restoration make necessary and restorative repairs. These would include repairs to the structure, non-structural parts, repairs to the coating or finish, which is necessary to continue protecting the wood. Applying protectant to an existing finish is to prevent the negative effects of environmental factors. Since these clocks are still in use within your home and not contained in an environmentally controlled display, some steps are necessary to preserve and repair and protect your antique clocks. You must minimize future deterioration. Only period finishing materials can be used that are historically accurate to repair or restore an antique clock case. There is a right way and many wrong ways of restoring. Unfortunately, we mostly see well-meaning restorations that are done the wrong way. Seeing many bad repair jobs can be very disheartening. This means that the clock is being ruined and destroyed. Sometimes these repairs are reversible, but many times the damage is irreversible. As time goes on, there are less clocks remaining that to be never replaced again. More often than not, I generally find many ill-advised restorations or rejuvenations that were done with the thought that this was the appropriate thing to do. For example, repairing clock cases includes gluing. This may be the single most important repair, but if you can't glue a piece properly, it will not be structurally strong and will most definitely shorten its life. The best way to achieve desired results is to use authentic finishing materials, techniques, and applications that are appropriate for the time period of the antique. Please note this: if you completely strip and refinish a case, you essentially have created a new clock case made of old wood. Some might say that this is the definition of restoration, the returning of something to a former condition. Although this may be true, it is an extreme adherence to the definition to the point of excess, so much so that it actually removes the value of the piece. The expectations of museums, collectors, and conservators are to appreciate the long acquired patina and aging of the finish and the look of a finely aged piece. The more original the piece, the far greater the desirability and value. An original finish on an antique is more valuable because of its accurate historical representation of itself. Localized and superficial damage to a finish can be easily corrected to continue protecting the piece and keep it functional and prolong its life to be enjoyed by future generations. It doesn't need to look new, but it should look old and aged with grace. Some small scratches, dents, minor imperfections in the finish add to the character and feel of age. Unfortunately, there are still people out there that think they are conservators and do a complete refinishing or over-restoration to the point of looking new. The terribly sad part is that I've seen them do this to very valuable clocks. Now let's play a game. It's called What's Wrong with This Picture? Imagine you've walked into a clock shop that sells new and antique tall case clocks. You see this clock on the showroom floor. Look at the picture. Is this a finely made new tall case clock or a clock from the 1800s? Take a good look. Have you decided? This is a clock that was made in 1800 and an example of a recent over-restored antique to the point of looking new. In this next picture is another clock that you see at the clock shop. Is this one of the new clocks or one of the antiques? Take a look at the picture. Have you decided? It is a clock from 1815. Here is another clock from the same shop. Is it a new one or an old one? Have you decided? It's a clock from the early 1800s. Here's another clock that's found in the clock shop. Is this an old one or a new one? Now take a good look. Have you decided? This is actually a new clock. Isn't it interesting but sad that all the clocks look the same regardless of age? If you had one of these over-restored clocks in your home, and a friend came by to see your most recent purchase, and he told him that the clock was 200 years old, your friend would think that either you need glasses or you are a fool because someone sold you a new clock for the price of an antique.